I'm Scott Weichel. You're listening to My Kind of Country here on Fish Creek Radio. Our guest today is a country music artist who has risen to international star stature as a vocalist, entertainer, and a songwriter. She is a founding member and lead vocalist for the group Highway 101. She has charted 5 number one hit singles, 10 top tens, and she has won CMA and ACM awards 2 years in a row for Top Vocal Group, International Vocal Group of the Year 2 years in a row. She's had Grammy nominations, and she has won 2 BMI Songwriter Awards. I'm very happy to have Miss Paulette Carlson with us today on My Kind of Country.
Hi, Scott. Well, I must say, you know more about me than I do. So that is great. You know, a person can forget some of the wonderful things that have gone on throughout their career. And when you're out there working, you're just so surprised when you win some of these awards. And I remember on our first ACM award out in the Academy of Country Music, I think that was in '88. I remember our bass player Curtis Stone. We just didn't think we even would come close to winning Group of the Year back then. And I think at that time we had The Bed You Made For Me out on the radio, and maybe we had Whiskey If You Were a Woman. But Curtis, he didn't even show up for the award show, and so we were all pretty astounded. But anyway, yes, thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. And you know, you have one of the most recognizable voices in country music, and I've always loved your voice and the music you've done, both with Highway 101 and other albums that you've done on your own. And, man, just a fabulous catalog of music, and you're a great songwriter, too. Some wonderful songs.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, when I first moved to Nashville, I had come from working the clubs back in my home state of Minnesota, and I also worked Fargo, North Dakota a lot. I worked the clubs back there a lot. And my number one thing was always singing and entertaining folks. But when I moved to Nashville, I realized people liked my songs. They liked my songwriting. And so one of my first I was lucky enough to be in Nashville only a few months, and I picked up a writer's gig with the Oak Ridge Boys Publishing Company. So that's when I started to take my songwriting serious. Years ago, I would write songs and forget them and write more and sing them and just love the song I wrote, and then I'd forget them and I'd write another one. But after I moved to Nashville, I thought, hey, I better start paying attention to some of my songs and make sure I don't forget them.
Well, it's a good thing you did, because you've had a lot of hit songs out there, and the country music would be a lot different if we didn't have you to write some fabulous music.
Oh, thank you so much. My first song I wrote when I moved to Nashville was The Bed You Made For Me, which when I put Highway 101 together, that ended up being our first hit single.
That's right.
And I remember doing a singles deal with Warner Brothers Records, and I had just found myself a manager. I'd been in Nashville for quite a few years, and when I finally found a manager, this was like years after I moved to Nashville, I decided to work with a gentleman named Chuck Morris out of Denver. He was working with the Dirt Band at the time, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. And when I decided to work with Chuck, we decided to put a band together, and that's how Highway 101 came about. We had auditions out in Colorado and in Nashville. But anyway, so I remember when we first were going to record The Bed You Made For Me, I had called Jim Ed Norman up, the head of Warner Brothers at the time in Nashville, and I said to Jim Ed, Jim Ed, I'm a little nervous here. I don't quite know if we're ready to go in and cut, because I knew with the singles deal, hey, if it didn't go out there in the market, we would not be having an album deal. And Jim Ed was very reassuring. He said, Paulette, he says, we believe in The Bed You Made For Me. Just go on in and do your best. And Paul Worley, of course, produced us, and what a talented producer. And And so that, once we cut the bed you made for me, we realized we had found our sound, because we were struggling with it at first. And, with rehearsals, trying to become a unit as a band. But when we cut the bed you made for me, we had found our sound, and that was our first single.
Well, it certainly started a long string of successful hits. Number one songs, Who's Lonely Now, Somewhere Tonight, Cry, Cry, Cry. Do You Love Me, Just Say Yes. My goodness. I just watched a YouTube clip on you from recently, and your voice is just as wonderful as it ever was, if not better.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I had done an album. I had basically pulled off the road quite some time ago, and raised my daughter out here in Montana. In fact, I'm in Montana today as we are visiting, and I just happened to come home for a just to check on the house and everything. And then there was a fireman's ball up in Jackson, Montana, at the Jackson Hot Springs this past weekend on Saturday, the 7th of March. And I joined in with the local band and had a great time. And it's so nice to be back in Montana. But basically my home now is Nashville again. And it's so good to be getting out on the road again. I'm going to be doing some dates in Branson. And I've got a date on the, that's the 20th of June in Branson at the Branson Star Theater. And then I'll be there again in October 17th at the theater.
Oh, that's great.
And and hopefully maybe I'll get one or two of those hairy guys from Highway 101 to join me.
That'd be great.
And, have a good time.
That's wonderful. So you guys all stay in touch and still get together and do music every once in a while, right?
Well, we do stay in touch a little bit, but, everybody's been so busy with their own lives over these past few years. And like I was mentioning earlier, I believe Cactus is going out with his wife once in a while, Winona, and working. And Curtis keeps real busy in Nashville. I think he has another job of some sort that he does, and as well as Jack Daniels. And but I've already spoken to Jack. He's going to come out with me on some of these shows, and of course I'll be singing all the hits.
Oh, that's great.
From years ago, and it's going to be so much fun. My favorite thing is to get out to sing for the folks, so I'm looking forward to it.
That's wonderful. Well, go to PauletteCarlson.com, and all of her information is there. You can listen to her music and check out the tour dates, and all the wonderful information is going to be right there on her website. Tell me about your, I believe this is your latest album, It's About Time. Is that right?
Yes. Now, I've done that. That I did, it's been a few years ago now. And the inspiration for that album actually came from a song that when my brother Gary, my older brother Gary, was so very sick in the hospital, and I thought, I was on the phone with him, and then all of a sudden, all the bells and whistles are going off, the nurses are rushing, someone just hangs up the phone, and he was a Vietnam vet, and the war had finally caught up with him. He had hepatitis C.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, he pulled through that day, but I was so upset, and I took my guitar out of the closet. Hadn't written a song for quite some time. I, again, was living in Montana, in the Missoula area, and beautiful country out here. And I just picked up the guitar and had a piece of paper in front of me, and the song wrote itself within about 15 minutes. 10, 15 minutes. I didn't even change a word. I don't think maybe one word at the most, if even that. And I just felt that our veterans needed to hear the song. So I asked my husband, I said, may I have all your money? He said, sure. And he was very supportive of me doing an album for our veterans. And so I went down to Nashville, moved back to town for the project, and did an album called It's About Time, and and did the album around the song called Thank You Vets. And then I found out that Ross Perot and some fellows were doing a welcome home Vietnam vets in Branson, Missouri, in June, and I was able to sing Thank You Vets for their welcome home. In fact, the first song of the day, even before they sang the national anthem, and I was like so honored and to be able to sing that for our Vietnam vets.
Wow, that's wonderful. Well, that's a great album. You know, one of the favorites that I really liked on it was a song called "That Old Glass Case." Is that one that you wrote also?
Oh, yes. I was sitting in my living room, and dear mother, Madeline, had given me her old glass case, and it was in the corner, and on the top shelf was an heirloom that she and Dad had picked up in Canada on their honeymoon, and on the second shelf was a plate that said, "I love you, Mom," on Mother's Day. And so basically, I just started writing that song, and that was another song that was, some songs come so easily, and that one came from the heart also. And I actually did a very simple little video for it when I was in Nashville. My daughter, Callie, came down and went to school there that year I did that album. And she's even in the video. So that was kind of a fun song.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you can see that on your website, too. And I encourage folks to go on to PauletteCarlson.com and get this. This is a wonderful album. It's about time. And, of course, so many great albums with Highway 101 over the years. You've got such a wonderful catalog of music, and it's just fabulous to be able to go back and relive some of those great memories.
Well, how sweet of you to say. Thank you so much. And I tell you what I'm really looking forward to is I moved back to Nashville, and I'm looking forward to doing another album. And I've been writing again, and it just feels like, where most people would be retiring, I'm going back to work. I just don't think I will ever retire. And I'm just thrilled to be back in Nashville again. And looking forward to doing many more projects, and hopefully with some of my friends I've worked with in the past and some new singer-songwriters and musicians in the future. There's so many wonderful players I've always wanted to work with in Nashville, and I'm determined to get them in the studio with me this next go-around. And
please be sure to let us know when you have new music that you're ready to put out, because we would love to get it on the air for you. That's exciting.
Well, how kind. I will definitely do that. I will do that, Scott. It's been a pleasure to talk with you and to be a part of your Fish Creek Radio. I've been up in your part of the world many times, up by Traverse City, and I was saying, I think I had some friends years and years ago when I lived in Minnesota, and they were from, I believe, Traverse City, and I'm trying to think of their names. They had Malamute dogs, beautiful Malamute dogs. I was just fascinated with them, and eventually I did get a Malamute dog that was crossed with a Great Pyrenees.
Oh, wow.
And it was the best, I think, about the best dog I've ever had.
Oh, that's great. It's a small world. There's so many people we run into that have been up here to Traverse City, and that's great. It is beautiful up here, even though we get a lot of snow, but hey,
Yeah, well, I hate to tell you, but it's 60 degrees here in Montana today.
Yeah, well, we're getting there.
It's shining and gorgeous, so hopefully you're getting some warmer weather now, too.
Oh, yeah, we're getting there. Well, I'd like to thank you, Paulette, for being on My Kind of Country. It's been a pleasure. And stay with me just for a moment after we get off the air here. I want to get an address so we can send you a gift bag from our sponsor, Fred Kelly Picks. They are a Michigan-based company that manufactures wonderful guitar picks for many, many great artists like Charlie Daniels and the Zach Brown Band and so many different ones.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, that is Paulette.
And I hope to get up sometime and work again in your area.
Well, us too.
I always love getting up in that part of the country.
It would be great to see you again. Thank you, Paulette Carlson. It's been a pleasure to have you on My Kind of Country.
I enjoyed it. Thank you too, Scott.
All right, that is Paulette Carlson. Highway 101. Thank you so much. And you are listening to My Kind of Country right here on Fish Creek Radio.
Darling, were you listening when I called you late last night? Or did the sleep get in your eyes? Did it blind me from your sight? Or was she lying with you? Was it hard for you to speak? And did you tell her she was sleeping in the bed you made for me? And did you tell her she was sleeping in the bed you made for me? Did she like my satin sheets? And did you sing her to sleep? And my pillow that she slept on, did it bring her sweet dreams? Did you tell her she was sleeping in the bed you made for me? The pillow that you made for me, it was soft with feather down. And the headboard, it came from an old house that was bound to be torn down. And the songs you always say